The 411 Live.
Where you can learn about issues that affect us every day. State of world, 411 Live.
Real people, real talk.
Made to help people in our community in every way. For your girl, 411 Live.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the 411 Live. Real people, real talk. I'm Beverly Taylor. Normally, we focus on sex trafficking, bringing awareness and furthering the discussion about that serious topic. But at this point, the coronavirus has risen to the top. So we are going to tackle that. And we have been for the last few podcasts, and we may do it for a few more. Nobody's immune to this. Everybody is affected by it. You know, you may have it or had it, or you may know someone who had it. You may know someone who died from it. It's all around us. We have a new normal. You're wearing gloves, going to the grocery store, mask. I'm sure everybody's donning these when you're going out and about. We're all affected. The safer at home order is affecting all of us. We are not doing the things that we used to do. And it has really affected the businesses, the small businesses, the restaurants, the hair salons, all these, the cultural places that we used to go. Most of them are non-essential, so they're closed. We're not going there. So we're going to talk about this, the effect of the coronavirus on small businesses. And we have two guests joining us now, and I'm really excited about it. They're joining us, of course, through Zoom because we are practicing social distancing. First of all, Antoi Johns, she is the owner of Transcending Salon and Spa. Welcome to you. Lisa Caesar, she is the Chief Operating Officer of No Studios, and welcome to you.
Hi, thank you.
First of all, ladies, you both have, as I mentioned, non-essential businesses, correct?
Correct.
So your doors are closed.
They are closed completely.
So when
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, when you had to face this issue, was it when the governor announced the order of the safer at home and the non-essential, or did you kind of know or feel that this was coming down the line?
I kind of had a feeling that with the direction that things were going, that it would come to a point where it may be limited. I never thought that it would be completely shut down. And the funny thing is, we were actually in the salon working on that particular day when we were told we had to be out by a certain time. And everyone knows within the salon industry, Friday at 5:00 is when everything is really picking up. So it just was really, trying to deal with getting out that day and then wrap your mind around what are we going to do for the next couple weeks? Will it be a couple weeks? Will it be longer? It really took us by shock.
Yeah. And how about you, Lisa?
Well, although our business is in Milwaukee, I live in New York, and New York is a bit ahead of the curve in terms of the coronavirus. So New York actually, I believe, instituted a lockdown maybe about a week or so before Milwaukee. So I anticipated that it would be coming. But it really was an overnight event. One day we were open and the next day we were completely closed. Both our business and all of the tenants in our building are unable to get back into our building.
Okay. So I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about all of the emotional things that kind of go into this. What do you do? And Antoi, as you were mentioning, how long? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 3 weeks? What do? You've got all these customers, and Lisa, you have all these members, and with membership, they're supposed to have access to the operation. I'm imagining, I'm trying to be empathetic here, some of the emotional things that you guys went through initially.
Very emotional. With myself, I have 12 or 11 other stylists that work inside the salon. And immediately my thought was, what are they going to do? And how do we how do we move forward? I can't expect them to take care of certain obligations if they're not allowed to come into the salon and work. So you have so many things that you're juggling, not just, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to work, because you have so many people depending on, your operation. You now, adjust and try to figure out what everybody else is going to do. You try to help problem solve for not just yourself and your family, but now I'm considering 11 other families and what the next steps will be and how can we move forward with the closure.
Right. Now, most people have an inkling of what a salon and spa looks like. Lisa, would you kind of briefly tell us about No Studios?
Right. So No Studios is a destination for creatives in the Pabst Brewery complex, and it has a few different components. One component is a screening room. Another is we have 2 bars on 2 different floors. It's an entertainment space. It's an opportunity for folks to gather, and completely dependent upon in-venue, activation. So it actually represents the exact opposite of social distancing. So overnight, our business literally became illegal. I mean, it was impossible to do business overnight. Our entire set of revenue streams evaporated. And so, we have the exact same problem as every other small business. It was first, how do we take care of our employees? And then second, how do we survive beyond literally the next 2 weeks? So it was very, it was traumatic and emotional, and you have to problem solve in a rapid fashion.
So both of you have businesses that require that in-person kind of aspect to it. It's better if you're together. And we are saying, don't be together. So how do you maneuver this? A lot of questions are coming into mind. First, let's go back to this. You guys have tenants, like in the salon, you have people who rent the chair, right?
Correct.
And in No Studios, you have tenants who they have their operation within that building. So now what do? I mean, they can't come in. Is rent still being paid? How do you maneuver all of that?
Well, for me, go ahead. Sorry.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Well, for me, the first thing that I thought of was excellent communication, because information was coming at us rapidly, and everything seemed to be changing almost on an hourly basis. So my first thought is, as I'm able to get information, I need to give it to my tenants and employees and our equity owners. And so that was, I would say for the first week, I was just constantly consuming information. I was on all of the webinar calls. In Wisconsin, I was paying attention to the news in New York. I was speaking with our equity owners. I organized the tenant conference call, so that it was really just about getting our arms around, talking to our bank, our lender. It was really information gathering and information giving for the first week. That's the only thing I focused on for the first week.
Boy, how about you?
That's pretty much the same here. We created a group chat, and pretty much we had 2 different individuals, myself and one other young lady, that did a lot of research. And I was closely connected with someone inside of WIBIC, and they were giving me information on the different loans and grants that I could pass on to the stylist. And like she said, just gathering information and giving it out, because it was like pretty much that was the only option at that point, because you really didn't know, and everything was just, like she said, changing on a very fast pace. It was changing hourly, daily. We would get information, and they would say, like, for instance, we right away went and signed up for the SBA loan. Well, when I went to sign up for the SBA loan, I was having to, it said apply here, but I had to actually print out the paperwork and load it up. By the time one of the other young ladies went to do it, she was able to do everything online. So it was a rapid change on the processing of everything, the information, as well as the process to get the information to the specific entities. So it was just, for me, it was just really almost overwhelming because, like I said, you're not only dealing with, getting the information and giving it out. It's really, what are we going to do? Because even with all the information, you still sit down in the evening and you wonder, what are we going to do and how are we going to make it through this? And with me, I think we were very optimistic, believing that, even though we're reading certain things and we see the reports and whatnot, knowing that, okay, this is the debt, May at the time, April, the end of April was the day that we can go back, but we were just hoping and praying that something would happen and the curve would flatten and, we would be back in full swing, because for a lot of the stylists, this is their only source of income. So one of the other things that we have started discussing, and things that I have discussed with them over the years with getting multiple streams of income, we've now, realized that the importance of that. So in gathering information on how to function during this, it's also gathering information on how to function after it.
Right. And then, the federal government with the stimulus, the $2 trillion stimulus, and the aspects for small businesses, the grants and the loans. And then I'm hearing, they ran out of money and they're waiting to infuse the stimulus with more dollars if the lawmakers can come to an agreement. And so people are kind of sitting there going, okay, well, what are we supposed to do here? I want to talk about, I see the challenges. Want to talk about how you guys have stepped up to the challenges. I hear how you're talking to each other, whether it's Zoom or another platform. You're staying in touch. You're getting the information out. Do you find yourself having to come up with ideas, ways to be creative? Because with no studios, I'm sure events have been canceled, and Antoi, you've told the clients, hey, you can't come. There are a lot of unhappy clients out there, I'm sure.
They are very unhappy.
I don't know what our hair looks like.
Well.
But have you come up with have you found yourself coming up with creative things that, maybe you hadn't thought of before?
Yes. For example, Zoom. I am actually implementing a service on Monday where you can do a Zoom consultation to kind of see where you are, the struggles, because I get so many texts, phone calls, emails, inboxes where it's getting kind of overwhelming. So it's just a push for me to say, okay, and it may have been something I should have been offering all along, but this is just one of those situations where you try to look and see, the bigger picture and say it's a rainbow on the other side of this. And what can I do right now because for me, I love what I do. It's my passion. So it's not just a financial burden. It also affects me mentally, because this is my every day I go to work. It's my outlet. So I'm missing that. I expressed to someone the other day, it's almost as if I was ripped from my family. Yeah. Because I have a very close relationship, not just with the people that I work with, but also with my clients. A lot of my clients have been my clients over 20 years, and I love them just as much as the clients that have been my clients for a couple weeks. So, it's really difficult on that aspect, that side of it, more so than the financial, because fortunately, with myself, I was able to start, I saved. And you prepare for a rainy day. You don't know that the day is actually months, but, you thank God that he gave you the wisdom to one day say, hey, I need to take some steps just in case.
Right.
But yes, back to the question, it has caused me to not only, I should have been selling product for the last 20 years. And I never took the time to sit down and do it. Well, and during this crisis, guess what I have done? I am selling products. I do a curbside pickup, so, and I work that through my social media platform because a lot of my clients are connected to me through social media. Mm-hmm. A lot of the salon, I have the salon business page. So I'm able to reach out and let them know that, we do really care and we want them to be able to maintain during this time. So we're offering things like that. Some of the young ladies at the salon that create crowns, wigs, they're offering as custom curbside services for that as well. So we're trying to really be creative outside of the salon. I personally have picked up a couple network marketing things because, we have to survive. Right. At the end of the day, there's, thank God for technology. There's other ways to definitely can't touch anyone's hair through social media, but I definitely can, have conversation. And with the retail platforms for the product, I can also have some source of income during this time. So
wow,
those are some of the creative things that we have come up with.
Yeah, it seems like the coronavirus and the safer at home order has just kind of, it's pushed you to elevate your business. And like you said, some things that you probably should have been doing before, now it's a necessity. And when we come out on the other side, you're going to benefit from that. I like that. Lisa, when we come back, we're going to take a short break. I want to hear about some of the creative things that you and your team have been doing in the last, 2 or 3 months now. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Human trafficking is a global issue that is happening locally. This is a problem that we cannot ignore.
Being so scared on that hotel bed and wish I had my money. Going back into that feeling of, man, what am I getting myself into?
She rests her head on the prison to which she's chained.
I'm standing there and I can't move. I can't go nowhere, I'm stuck.
Drug into this spider's web, and she can't untangle herself to freedom.
Him telling me how pretty I am and what I can do to trick guys out of money and what I need to do and how much money I need to bring back, and him making me change into different lingeries to take pictures of me to put me on Craigslist. Now I'm a product to be sold.
Beneath this ground we walk is a hell of movement in a forced direction. Gridlocked, traffic lights, sex, currency, bodies, stock, fear, monopolized, auction, blocks.
Another job, he come another one, and just being sold over and over and over and over.
Minds groomed to be immune to pain.
And you used to it, and you just lay there.
Numb, desensitized, innocence, drained.
I went from that scared little girl, from the foster care, from being molested by my stepbrother, by my foster brother, till being a lonely little girl stuck in a house, so scared with my mother, to being trafficked.
Welcome back to the 411 Live, Real People, Real Talk. We're talking about the coronavirus and its effect on small businesses. And we have two wonderful representatives here, Antoi Johns, who is the owner of Transcending Salon and Spa, and Lisa Caesar, Chief Operating Officer of No Studios. And when we left, we were talking about some of the creative things that the coronavirus and all of the things that we have to do, because as you know, non-essential businesses have had to close. So what do you do? But people are figuring out ways to overcome that. Antoi told us about some of the ways that they are using. And Lisa, I wanted to get back to you. I wanted to find out what you and your team have started to do.
Right. So our path is very similar to Antoi's in that we really had to innovate and change the way we thought about our business strategically. So our business was very Milwaukee centric, and all of our events were in our venue. And I began to reimagine those studios and think of it as actually a global platform because the internet has no boundaries. And we replaced our in-venue events with online events. And we started inviting participants from around the country. So what we have now are a series of online events. Typically, the presenter will be an artist, content creator from New York or LA, and they will do Zoom-based skill shares that can be accessed by any member. And then we have typically a moderator for those skill shares from Milwaukee. So we still have that Milwaukee connection, but we're actually able to broaden our platform by incorporating participants from around the country. And then so that's actually been incredibly successful. And then we're doing a variety of kind of cool things on our website, which we've completely renovated to make it open, accessible, and relevant for an audience that's much broader. But it has not been an easy journey getting to this place. A lot of trial and error, and I think that will continue. But it has opened up opportunities that would not have been available to us if we hadn't encountered this difficulty.
Wow, this global idea, what you're embarking on, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we have a part of our website where we invite submissions from people around the world, and we've gotten submissions from South Korea and Africa. I mean, I guess when I thought about it, there is no reason why we can't invite participation from around the world when we're all in the same position and on the internet.
Right. And, with No Studios, that whole idea of introducing people, to Milwaukee, I mean, you're really doing that now.
Yeah, we're fortunate that John's network is, all of these folks are not working. Folks that we would not ordinarily be able to get time with because they're traveling, they're working 14-hour days, they're all on pause. And so, that's the upside to this tragic situation is that folks that would not ordinarily be available to us have all the time in the world. They can just sit and talk, for an hour. And so we're taking full advantage of that. And again, it's just as Antoi said, I wish I had thought of it sooner. There was no reason why we couldn't have done this a long time ago. I just didn't have the bandwidth or the imagination. But I'm hopeful that when we recover from this, we can keep this program going.
Yeah, and I should mention, you mentioned John Ridley, who's the founder of No Studios, award-winning screenwriter for 12 Years a Slave, and there's a lot to his credit. So he is the founder, so that's great too, native of the Milwaukee area. We talk about, a lot of times I hear people saying, I'll be so glad when all of this is over so we can get back to normal. But what I'm hearing from you guys is more of we will get back to a normal, but it's not the past normal. It's a modified normal based on the things that you've learned during this era, during this time that we're dealing with now. So now you have many more things in the toolbox, so to speak.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mentioned to the young ladies that we'll get back to our new normal.
Yeah.
So, and we'll come back better than before. So that's one of the upsides to it, taking out a lot of time to do. We've actually got a lot of certificates so far. So when I do trainings, I pass it on so that they're certified in different, because there are a lot of different products that, take certification to do. And because we were constantly working, everybody thinks they don't have time. And one of the things that I've expressed to them, we have a lot of time right now to better ourselves. So take advantage of it.
That's great.
And we've been tag teaming and getting it done. So I said we'll come back to something better on the other side of all
the
this.
idea of using the time that you have now, this lull, using it wisely. That totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. When we talk about small businesses and the things that they're going through and this, closure of non-essentials, although you guys really are open for business, but it's just in a different form. But I think about all the things, a lot of people right now are going, what can I do to help? I love going to see Antoi, John's and Transcending, and I love going to No Studios and enjoying the rooftop lounge and all the activities there. What can I do at this point to help them? What would you say to them?
Well, a lot of my clients have reached out and asked me those questions. And what I have done, I asked them to definitely participate in all the endeavors that I'm putting out there, which is one thing. I have had, like I said, with the being creative thing, I've had raffles where I give away products. And the funny thing is, a lot of times the people I had a lady one day, they were $1 for the entry. She sent me $25. She said 20 is for a seed and 5 is for my raffle. So, just the outpour of support, from different individuals. Because the thing about it, the rent is still having to be paid. So, the fact that people are willing to reach out and help is just like, it really does something for me. Where you think that you just get up every day and you go and, you touch people's lives, but you don't really realize how much you impact people's lives until something like this happened. As a matter of fact, I had a lady inbox me the other day and she said she's not going to wait until my final day to let me know how much she appreciates me. She's going to show me now when I can, benefit from it. So when people reach out and they ask, what can they do? I because of the person that I am, it's kind of hard for me to just really say, hey, you could do this. But, I had to, even so that part of the process that's going on now, a lot of self-development is taking place because like I stated to someone yesterday, people need people, and I'm learning that, I have to, if God tells someone to bless me, I have to accept. Right. Instead of me always wanting to give, I'm learning at this point right now to accept what is taking place. So when people contact me and ask me, and I just, whatever the Lord puts on your heart, it's kind of my response. And that's pretty much where I am, just supporting my different endeavors as well as, whatever,
Right.
See. Yeah.
I was looking at the small business, I think it was the Better Business Bureau, and they were talking about ways to support small business. Buy a gift card for later. Skip the refund and take a rain check. Commit to future work. Shop online. Look for virtual classes. Get takeout delivery, or, Antoi, in your case, that curbside pickup. Write an online review about the place.
Yes.
Like or share on social media. Tell your businesses that you appreciate their work, which is what you just mentioned. So all of those things, you could benefit from virtually all of these things, right?
All of them. And one of the things I have done, when you mention all of that, since we've been shut down, I have increased our following on our business page on Facebook by 2,000 because I daily reach out to different ones and ask them to, share our page.
Right.
We've done the review thing, and I also have added on my website a place for the gift card purchase. So
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Lisa, you want to jump in there? All these things work for you
Yeah,
guys?
absolutely. I think I agree with absolutely everything that was said. The one thing I would add is the creative community, in Milwaukee and across the country has really been devastated by COVID-19 because they depend entirely on social interaction. Almost entirely on social interaction. And many of the artists and creatives are freelancers and they're living from paycheck to paycheck. So I think one way to help our community, many of the creatives are our members, is to view our online performances. We have a Facebook Live takeover series where the artist or the creative, typically a musician, takes over our Facebook and gives a performance. We always have a donate button. No Studios does pay for this content, so the artist is always benefiting from a No Studios perspective. But taking the opportunity to view the performance, donate, you can go to our website, and if you reserve the opportunity to see the performance and donate, the money goes directly to the artist. So I think that's one way to both enjoy fantastic entertainment, but also to benefit the creative community in Milwaukee.
Very good. I was reading something where they were saying that some businesses will not survive this. And they were focused a lot on restaurants. It sounds like you guys won't be in that number. You have come up with creative ways of sustaining yourselves. But I just wonder, through all of this, all that you've gone through, all that you've seen, that initial shock of what you were the initial shock of the challenge that you were going to face. Getting to this point, what have you learned personally?
Well, for me, I live in New York, and so I remember vividly 9/11 because I was working in the financial industry at the time and living very close to the World Trade Center, and then also the financial crisis in 2008. I almost feel that those big events have prepared me for this one. I mean, nothing can prepare you for a pandemic, but I feel almost as if, this is another crisis that we just have to get through. And I think so I'm pulling on knowledge that I think I learned from the previous two major crises, both of which were horrific in their own way. And I think it's very important to maintain one's poise, not just for yourself, but for all of the people that are depending on you, whether it be family, employees, equity owners, members, and communities, and find a way to just day by day conquer each challenge as it comes. I actually don't have the complete confidence that we will get through this. I think that's just the reality. I think information is moving quickly, and there are circumstances that are just absolutely beyond our control. And I'm very honest with our staff about that. But I think, we can only do what we can do and take each day as it comes. And, every morning I have the list of challenges that we have to confront. And every night I try to take stock and think, did I make progress? And, we survived another day. And I think if we survive enough days in a row, we'll make it work. But this is an incredibly challenging environment. And I think we just have to, do the best we can, and hopefully not surrender to the events that are outside of our control.
Wow. You're being realistic, and I hate to hear that. We don't know if we will survive. I pray that you do, but I understand completely. Antoi, what have you learned personally?
Like I stated before, one of the things that you learn things that you already kind of tapped into, but you learn to really hone into it, like the fact that people need people. And I know in order to survive something like this, it's not something that I can do on my own. So I teamwork is one of the most essential things during this time, even for, like I stated before, the mental aspect of it. There are days when they're not so good, but to have a team that come in and we chime in and we encourage each other. So I'm really learning to appreciate the people that are surrounding you more so, and I before I definitely, I thank God for them, I appreciate them, but you gain a greater appreciation during times like this when people are really there and supportive and different things. So I'm really learning to create an environment that allows everyone to bring something to the table, because that's how we problem solve.
Yeah.
So
we're all in this together, and we need each other. So I pray that on the other side, that your businesses will survive and thrive. And I'm very impressed with the creative things that you have implemented so far. So I thank you very much for sharing your stories with us and giving us an inkling of how the COVID-19 is affecting your businesses and how you are kind of maneuvering through the challenges that you face. So thank you very much. Antoi Johns, owner of Transcending Salon and Spa, and Lisa Caesar, Chief Operating Officer of No Studios. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Have a good one. And I want to thank you for also joining us for another edition of the 411 Live. Of course, we are a nonprofit organization, and you can find more information about us on our website, the411live.org. And if you are so inclined to support us, because we are nonprofit, we would appreciate that too. I mentioned that we normally focus on human trafficking, specifically sex trafficking. And if you want to see some of the previous episodes on that, you can find those on our website, on YouTube. Please subscribe. And all of the podcast platforms that you may have, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, you'll find us there, iTunes, we're there. So for now, we thank you for joining us, and please stay safe. This is the 411 Live. Real people, real talk. I'm Beverly Taylor.